I went through a period of burnout back in 2017, 2018 as a newly qualified doctor, and part of my burnout recovery was about resting, recovering, spending a lot of time at home, basically being in full hermit mode. That was exactly what I needed at the time. I needed lots of sleep and lots of guilt-free relaxation. Now, once I started to emerge from that period of time, getting out of survival mode, coming out of my hermit era, I started to feel like maybe I'd forgotten how to be fun. I didn't really know what I enjoyed anymore. My hobbies had fallen away. I wasn't spending as much time with friends and family. Life had become all about work and recovery. And so I spent the next few months going on a journey where I learned to get my sparkle back and remember who I am as a person. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 30 things that have helped me to rediscover my own sparkle. And I've been doing these things for years now. If you enjoy this video, I have a whole playlist of these videos where I share things like 30 things that have improved my life, 30 things that have made my life easier, 30 ways to romanticize life. So feel free to go ahead and binge watch that after you've watched this video. And if you can relate to this, you feel like, Sarah, I've lost my sparkle, I've created something just for you, a 5-day mini challenge called Get Your Sparkle Back, and I've linked a discount code for it down below. Number 1, getting a dog. Oh my goodness. Having Tilly in my life has just made everything better. I love spending time with my dog. I come home from a stressful day and all of my stress melts away when I see her happy little face. Getting outside with her, taking her out for runs, for walks. She's just a delight. We are so lucky to live in a world with pets. Looking fine by 9. This is a little phrase I came up with for myself because when I was going through burnout, I found it very tempting to just stay in my pajamas or in loungewear all day when I was on my days off. And you know, sometimes that's quite nice, especially if you're not very well or you just really need a day of relaxation. That can be quite comforting. But I was finding it was becoming a habit a little bit too often. And so now, especially because I work from home a lot more, I have a bit of a rule for myself that when I'm at home, even if I'm not seeing anybody, even if I'm just going to be working at my laptop all day, get myself up and dressed and looking fine by 9. And to be honest, it actually doesn't have a lot to do with how I look. It's more to do with how I feel. Because when I take the time to put a bit of care and attention into how I look, it makes me feel so much better. Taking myself on date days. Now, I do this every single month and it is something that all of my coaching clients to do. So if you're one of my coaching clients, I hope you've got your date day booked in for the month. And what a date day is for me is something that is just totally for me. Maybe it's that I want to go to a particular exhibition, or I want to go shopping somewhere, or I want to take myself on a new hike somewhere that I've never been before. It's just something that feels really good to me that I'm craving. And when I go on these date days, I try to treat myself to something delicious to eat and maybe buy myself a little treat as well. So I might buy myself like a new book or a new pen. Connecting with people, oh my goodness. When I was burnt out, I felt like I had no energy to do nice things with my friends and my family, and sometimes I would show up to these things and just feel like I was there in body but not in spirit. So when I was trying to get my sparkle back, I made a real effort to start reconnecting with friends and family that perhaps I hadn't spoken to in a while, family members that I wanted to catch up with, and make the time and effort to either just send them a message or have a phone conversation or book something fun in with them. We are a social species. We need connection. And after recovering from burnout and feeling like you're in hibernation mode, it's really nice to just peek out from your little hermit hibernation nest and start connecting with people again. Getting creative again. Oh my goodness, when I was burnt out, I felt like I had no time, no energy to be creative or even to think creatively, because that's the thing about burnout. When you are in survival mode, you are just getting through each day. You do not have the capacity to be as creative and imaginative as you are when you're feeling relaxed and happy and calm. So as I started to come back to myself, getting creative was such a nice way to feel like myself again. So I started doing things like making jewelry, which was really fun. My sister bought me a jewelry making kit. Going to a pottery painting class. So if you're not quite ready to actually start doing some of those things, maybe just get on Pinterest and start getting those creative juices flowing again. Wearing nice clothes and jewelry, oh my goodness. So One of the things that really helped me when I went through burnout recovery was going to a professional stylist and having a styling session. My sister and I booked in with Lindsay Punch for an entire day. We had our colours done and she did loads of other work with us on helping us to find what our style is. It was such a nice experience. It's one of those things that helps you to feel like yourself. Making the time to put together some really nice outfits and get dressed up and have a few go-to outfits that you know you feel really good in. Getting into new environments, taking yourself to places that make you feel inspired, that make you feel lit up. Have you ever noticed how when you go to places that feel really special, that look really amazing, that feel really inspiring, you feel different? Getting out into places in nature that feel awe-inspiring, or going to really beautiful hotel lobbies and looking around, or going to beautiful restaurants, looking at incredible architecture in new cities, redecorating a room in your house, or changing up something in your home to make it feel different. Even if that is just moving your furniture around in a particular room or redecorating a certain part of a room, definitely makes you feel happier. Unfollowing a load of people. Just unfollow anyone who doesn't make you feel good, anyone whose page pops up and you're like, oh, it makes me feel a bit jealous or a bit uneasy, or I just don't like their content. Unfollow them. And if you need to block people, block people. Remove energy drainers from your life in any way that you can. Starting to read for enjoyment again. Personally, I found when I went through burnout, I could not read. I couldn't read anything for enjoyment. I just felt like it took too much energy. I didn't have the passion for reading that I used to have. And anytime I had to read, it was something for work. It was a paper, or it was a guideline, or some other scientific thing. I felt like I just didn't want to pick up a novel. So once I started to recover from burnout and feel better and starting to feel like myself again, I treated myself to some books that I really, really enjoyed. I actually started to find reading really fun again. And it felt like a bit of a treat, a bit of time to myself. Using brain dumps to clear my head, so just writing everything down. I actually have a specific way that I do this, and I'll link this in a video up here to show you my method of doing this. But getting everything out of my head and onto paper, categorized, so that I feel more free. Like I said about removing energy drainers, having things that you're storing in your head, running around in circles in your head, is a real energy drainer. So being able to get it out, categorize it, and figure out what needs to be done in what order makes you feel so much better and allows you more space in your mind. Journaling. If you have watched my videos before, you will have heard me talk about this in pretty much every video, but journaling changed my life. Journaling has made me so much happier. It helps me to work through problems systematically. It helps me to notice patterns in my thinking, to spot challenges, spot things that have come up before and again and again. And it also helps me to come up with ideas and think more creatively. So journaling, just free writing, is really, really helpful. But I'm also going to share with you something that I personally do and something that I have encouraged all of my coaching clients to do, which is a specific type of journaling called joy journaling. So this is something that I made up, which is where you write something down every single day that makes you happy. So something from that day specifically, a moment that brought you joy, whether it was a joke that somebody told you, or something lovely that happened, or just seeing a nice sunset. Writing something down from every single day that made you happy. There's two reasons why this works so brilliantly. Number one, you end up having this brilliant record of all these lovely things that have happened to you and evidence that life is in fact really good. But two, it actually helps you to start looking for more evidence of nice things, because you know you're going to have to write something down in your journal. It activates your reticular activating system in your brain, which is the part of your brain that helps you to filter for things. You're telling your brain, look for good things, and it starts to help you be more positive. I have had so much feedback from my coaching clients about how much this particular practice has changed their lives. So try this and see how you get on with it. Doing fun things for no reason. So do you remember when you were a kid, when it was the school holidays, and you would just mess around, you would just do things because you had free time? This is something that's really nice to try and get back to, that kind of childlike state. So giving yourself time to just play and be free, learn a dance from TikTok, or learn how to moonwalk, or do some funny challenge that you've seen online. Make a vision board for yourself. Now, I used to be a bit skeptical about vision boards. I was like, I don't really understand what they're for. I don't really understand why someone would make one. But the idea of it is that you put together a load of things that are related to your goals, the things you want to become, the things you want to experience, and you find photos and words that represent that, put them all together in a bit of a collage, and then look at that as often as you can to keep your brain inspired to move towards that ideal version of you. And it's also really nice to do the exercise of thinking deeply about what you want, because I do think a little bit of that gets lost when you feel like you've lost your sparkle. Doing nice things for other people, random acts of kindness, doing nice things for your neighbours, doing nice things for your friends and family, spoiling your loved ones, it will always make you feel good to be generous. Okay, excuse all the mess behind me. My husband's just done a massive order and all of his stuff is everywhere. Having phone-free time. Oh my goodness, how many of us are just addicted to our phones, scrolling non-stop, and it becomes the default. When you're bored or you don't know what to do with yourself, you just pick up your phone or you use it as a distraction from other things. So having time that is intentionally phone-free has helped me so much, either having like a whole phone-free day or having a cut-off time in the evenings. Comedy has helped so much. Watching comedy, just watching a funny film or watching some stand-up. And my husband and I love to go to live comedy. So it's one of our favourite things, going to Edinburgh Fringe Festival and going and seeing loads of live comedy acts, or booking a comedy night just as a date night. It's so much fun, getting a bit of laughter therapy. Be a tourist in your local area. Okay, I heard this on a podcast a long time ago where this couple came up with this idea where they drew a radius around their property that was like a 2-hour drive, anywhere that was within a 2-hour radius of their house, and then they looked in detail at the map about what was in that radius and planned loads of fun things. They came up with this list for themselves so that whenever they had a weekend where they didn't know what to do, they would just pick something from that list. And I love this idea, and this is something that Vince and I try to do quite frequently, try to get out and explore, go and do different things. It's that novelty factor, and this is evidence-based. Novelty brings you more happiness. This tip isn't exactly cheap, but planning holidays. Oh my goodness, like how much better do you feel when you're away on holiday? Giving yourself the opportunity to have the enjoyment of planning it and thinking about all the fun things you want to do, the places you want to go, enjoying the actual holiday itself, but then also having that afterglow of the holiday and enjoying the feeling that comes with coming back from holiday and feeling all rested and having had all these beautiful new experiences and met new people, tasted new food. Plan a holiday whenever you can. Plan a holiday. As I've gotten older, into my 30s, I've realised that one of the things I love in life is to host. I love hosting dinner parties. I love hosting my friends. I love having my family to come and stay, putting on a nice meal, putting on a nice spread, taking the time to think about what to cook, making the house look lovely, and then enjoying the company of all my friends and family being here. I just love it. It's just so fun. And I feel like these moments when I've got my friends and family there are what life is all about. One of my favourite business or self-development type books is The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And he shares this idea that you have 3 different types of friends. You have 2-minute friends, 2-hour friends, and 2-day friends. The 2-minute friends are people who you can spend a bit of time with, acquaintances who you can pass the time of day with. And then you have 2-hour friends who are people that you can go for dinner with, go for some drinks with, and you enjoy their company for a couple of hours. And then 2-day friends are like these magical magical unicorns that you could spend 2 days with or more and still want to spend more time with them. Making the time to spend more time with my 2-day friends, making the effort to connect with them more, has obviously helped me to feel more sparkly and feel like my usual self again. It's not just about spending time with those people and enjoying their company, but it's about who you are when you're in their company. It makes us feel good to connect with our favourite people. And so I love this idea of the 2-minute, 2-hour and 2-day friends, because it's a nice reminder to put the effort in to prioritise those people who are so special to you. Okay, this one was probably one of the hardest things for me, and it might be for you as well, but learning to properly rest and learning to have guilt-free relaxation. This is another thing that I talk to my clients about a lot. Because here's the thing, if you are going through the motions of doing your hobbies or, resting on the sofa or watching a film, but your mind is still at work, still thinking about that conversation you had yesterday, or you're worrying about what's going on next week, you're not actually resting. Your brain needs to rest as well as your body. So learning to give myself guilt-free relaxation has made the world of difference in me feeling like my best self. Booking yourself into spa days, for me, this is like the ultimate treat. I love a spa day. I love the feeling of having nowhere else that I need to be and no one wanting anything from me, giving myself the opportunity to properly switch off. And bonus points if you can take a friend along and have a nice day with them, spending a bit of quality time together. Okay, so one thing that has really helped me to feel like myself or like my best self is doing all my personal grooming on a particular day of the week. For me, this looks like doing some hair oiling, a hair mask, applying some self-tanner, maybe doing my nails, giving myself a manicure or a pedicure, doing a face mask, and giving myself some time to really take care of my body. And again, this isn't actually really about how I look, it's about how I feel and how I'm looking after myself. I always talk about taking exquisite care of yourself, and usually when I talk about that, I'm talking about, sleeping lots and eating well and getting exercise, but personal grooming is a big part of self-care as well. I feel my best when I've got a little bit of self-tanner on and when my hair feels silky and when my nails are done. Taking good care of my home and looking after my environment. You feel better when your home is clean and tidy. And you've heard me say it before. If you've watched any of this series, I talk a lot about this in this 30 Things series, about looking after your home. And I tell myself I deserve to live in a nice, tidy space. If I feel like being lazy, or I feel like I want to go in full hermit mode and just have a day off from everything, it's really tempting for me to leave those dirty dishes on the side and not bother with the vacuuming. But I always feel better when I take the time to look after my home. And when I shared in my last video about how I say to myself I deserve to live in a nice home, somebody left a comment under that video and said that one thing that really helps them is saying, I am so grateful that I have a space to be able to take care of. And I think that's a really lovely thing. It's like so nice to have gratitude for our space and our environment, and to be like, I'm so lucky that I have dishes to wash up. I am so lucky that I have this floor to vacuum. I'm so lucky that I get to take care of my home. And I love that. So thank you to you, whoever it was that left that comment. I really do appreciate it. I saw somebody else online talk about doing things with friends rather than just catching up with friends. I'm really sorry, I can't remember who it was that I saw say this, but I love this idea. It's so true. When we're at school, when we're young, when we're kids and we see our friends every day, we are doing things with them, we are making memories with them. And if you go to university, you spend time and have experiences with those friends, you are making those memories. But then somehow as we get older, we enter the workforce, our lives start to become about work and about, chores and responsibilities. And then we fit seeing friends into whatever time we have left. And that tends to be going for a meal or grabbing a drink together and catching up about what you've been doing. And I just love this idea of like flipping that and not just catching up, but actually making those memories with them. So since I heard that, I think I was trying to do that anyway, but I'd never heard it put into words like that. But since I watched that video, it made me think about it and be more intentional about that. So I wanted to share that with you, but apologies that I can't remember the original creator that I saw who said that. For me, a big part of getting my sparkle back and remembering who I am and learning more about myself was trying to give myself the things I really want. When you're living in survival mode, and for me when I was burnt out, I felt like I was just going through the motions of most days, doing a lot of things I didn't really want to do. So a part of getting my sparkle back and trying to remember who I am has been learning about what I actually want, what I actually need, and giving myself those things. And something that's been great for this is eating the foods I really want to eat, thinking about what I crave and what I really, really want to eat. I think we can get in a rut of eating the same meals on repeat because they're convenient, because of habit. We've always eaten those things. A few years ago, I remember asking myself, what do I actually want to eat? If I had the opportunity right now to eat whatever I wanted, what would I choose? And I realized that the foods I was eating weren't really aligning with that. It sounds a bit silly to say, but you know, if you've got the opportunity and the privilege to be able to afford food and the food you actually want to eat, why not treat yourself to eating some of those really delicious things that you're craving? For me, it was things like smoked salmon. I always felt like, oh, that's really indulgent, I shouldn't buy that for myself. But the reality is I can splurge a bit and treat myself to some nice salmon. I can splurge a bit and treat myself to the tender stem broccoli rather than just, you know, the usual florets. It is a really privileged position to be in. And even if you can only do it every now and then, it is still a nice treat. Okay, this is another one that I share a lot in this 30 Things series, but it's so important to me. Getting outside into nature as much as possible, watching the seasons change, getting in touch with nature, like listening to the different birds and seeing all the different trees and getting excited by being outside. I really do make an effort to be outside as much as possible these days, mainly to walk my dog, but also because it just makes me feel really, really good. I did a challenge for myself a couple of years ago where I tried to get outside for at least 30 minutes every day. That's not that much, but it made so much difference to my feelings of well-being. Another one that is evidence-based as well. Filling my home with things that I love. Okay, so we've got a disco ball up there. That was from one of our New Year's parties. We put it up just for the party and then we ended up just leaving it up. And having lots of photos of family and friends around just makes me so happy. And like the pictures that I've chosen to put up around our home aren't just like, you know, nice pictures. I mean, they are lovely pictures, but they're pictures of like people laughing and people dancing and having a really good time. And when I look at those pictures, it brings me so much joy. So that brings me to the end of this video. And if you've enjoyed this video, I have a whole playlist where I take you through a list of 30 things that have helped me. So I will link that right here for you. You can go ahead and binge watch that. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Dr. Sarah and you can subscribe down below. See you in the next one. Bye.
And remember to check out the Get Your Sparkle Back mini challenge, which I've linked down below for you. Enjoy.